So, stealing from one of my favorite YouTubers, Alex at Technology Connections, welcome to No Effort November. In that I'm going to need to make a bunch of videos that happen between the holidays, and I just need something easy, something that's like no brainer. Meze 105 Air is a no brainer. You see, Meze, which I think you all know, and in fact, the crowning jewel of my collection is the Empyrean Elite. If you can't tell what that is, it's right there next to the other stuff. They brought out the 109s last year, 2 years, 10 years ago. It feels like forever. And this has become the default. Zeos, I have some money to spend on a good headphone. And even if I don't know your personal tastes, and even if I don't know what equipment you had, and even if I don't know your history, your age, your fucking sex, I know nothing, you get the 109s. It's the default. I want a quality headphone. I don't have to worry if you're going to dislike the sound, because you won't. I don't have to worry if you have a powerful enough amplifier to run it, because you don't. It'll run on anything. Now $800 is steep, and I did make the collective assumption that, okay, people are going to want to spend less. And at some point, I did whip out the Thiodio Ghosts. I even put the pads from the original disc onto this to get them to going, and I was like, there you go. We have 109s at home, and it was the Thiodio Ghost. These are now basically impossible to find, but also those were like $120, and now they're down to like $87, which is why they're impossible to find. And that was a similar sound signature to the 109 Pro, but obviously not the same. Like, just holding this feels like I've made it. You could be fucking Gaben and have these, and no one would judge you for having cheap headphones or you just have the nicest fucking headphones. So these are the more so okay, but here's the thing. Meze didn't go have the price, because these are $400, and say, here's the 105 Airs, they're shittier 109s. They're not that. In fact, I shouldn't even have these on the table, except that the build is so similar that I kind of have to, because these are their own thing. These are not these. These are different and have different superpowers than these. These, obviously, as I said, happy? I said the thing. Also, you'll notice I am running Deconi pads on them, because I did find with these fenestrated ones, I kind of like them a little better. But that said, perfect in every way. By the way, this case is not for the 109s. This is the case for the 105s. So they're not going like full, hey, we made garbage. They're still fucking Meze. You get the nice clamshell hard case with the logo and the weird other smaller case inside that's all Velcro-y. And you can stick the Meze thing on there. Look at that. So they're loading you up with nice box. I want to complete this and draw the turtle. There's got to be a turtle on here. I mean, you understand what they went for with it, right? But I want to see legs and a cute little tail and a stupid little head. I want to see a little Meze turtle here. By the way, the Romanian noun air is pronounced air and is silent, unseen, essential. Air finds expression through invisible vibrations that becomes audible poetry. 105 Airs, innovation, air, and three-dimensional music. Listen. All right, shh. Away from Romanian poetry for a second. Put that down. Actually, put that down over here so it's not next to the wire tube and the Sparko stuff, because we got to talk about sources. I know that's what everyone's gathered around. Children, gather around. Bring your best waifu, and let's talk about source gear. Before I get to the wire, the default wire, which is the weakest link of this whole fucking thing, what the 109s and all the higher end Meze originally did was not give a fuck what you plugged it into. Like the Elites up there, the ones that are $4,000, you could plug those into the literal output on the top of my Sony phone, and they'd still be as magical as they are to anything. And then sitting directly next to those is the Dianas. I don't remember which ones, the MZs, DCs, the MCAs, the YMCAs. This is the Diana YMCAs. And you need to have those in a specific type of amplifier from a specific vintage in order for them to be enjoyable. And Meze was never that. The newer Meze stuff, the Empyrean 2, and I have the Lyric 2 sitting somewhere, are much more, not that they require an amplifier, but you can at least taste the flavor. And see, that's where these come in. How did I... You're ruining it. You're ruining it. There we go. I have the Meze cable on the AER 105s because this is the cable that comes with the... God. Okay. 3.5 with an adapter, so you can plug that in. And the 3.5 is very small and skinny, and I kind of like that. And it goes to a fabric cable. Nothing wrong so far, but it's a very, 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 very long fabric cable. And it's kind of springy. Like, it's almost too light. There's a weight that I require in a cable so that it sits flat on a table. This is, by the way, my Meze collab cable, which I'm going to obviously pimp. But we get up to this nice split, and it's got... it looks like a microphone hole, but it's not. It's just a thing. And then it goes up to these like skinny little rubberized things, which I think are too rubbery. And it goes to really nice small adapters. And they make it... I'm not sure if this is on purpose or by accident, but the left and right are not just indicated with letters on here. The left one physically has like a flare there that you feel. And this one is smooth so that you can feel what side it is, which is... They don't mention this anywhere. It's just there. That's... You know what? I could get used to that. This is out of context clips with Zeos. But either this is a manufacturing defect or the smartest thing they've ever done. So you could just literally pick them up and just feel the wire and go, okay. Because I have little red and blue indicator rings. And unlike the 109, which had an offset deep socket, which, by the way, did you know that the Meze cable comes with specifically the Meze tips if you want to have an offset deep socket? Although these will also work and just go in further. I don't know why they offer both, but they do. But as this is slightly off-center axis and off-center wire, this isn't. This is dead straight. So you can essentially reverse them if you feel like it. The only L&R indicators in the headphone are up here on the leather, which this is... And I could shit on spring-loaded like head pads all day long for different various headphones. Never for these. That feels like NASA put that together. Like, it's just so even and smooth and satisfying to do. As far as like the structure goes, like this is it's a slightly simpler. Like this is a very deep V. This is a much more simple V. But, you know, it sits there. This gets held from the exact center in the back. The other headphone that does that is like the Fostex like T50 ones. It's one of the only other headphones that has a center cup push, which is super rare and super nice because it means you don't feel like the weird angles and geometries of things holding it. It's just like someone's holding them with two fingers just against your ears. I'm going to hold this onto your head. So fantastic, and they have just enough articulation with a little rubber gasket there, and this giant piece of spring steel that if you're like, you know what, the clamp's too much, you could just keep going, leave them like that for a day, and they probably have less clamp. But they don't need it. They're perfect. As far as comfort goes, they're as comfortable as the 109s. The end. Even with that slight little tilt there, all it does is reposition this on top of your head, which they didn't cheap out on this. In fact, it might even feel a little bit more robust than the 109s. Anyway, forget what we're talking. You like the look of them? They're a little Dark Knight. They're a little Blade. And I'm not talking about the one that they're not making. I'm talking about the fucking Wesley Snipes Blade. I like them. I like the look. I don't like the stock cable, despite it having that cool little ridge. It's a little too thin. But, you know, this is Audiophile. You're going to go out and buy a triple wing cable for $40 and it's going to just blow your mind. Or you're going to spend a little more and support me with the Meze cable and it's going to blow your mind. Let's put these on the correct way. Yeah, there's no left and right. Like this had an offset driver in the front. And that was a little bit part of the reason. This is just dead center. You got the silk screen in here. It's so fucking pretty. Original. They're basically the same pads the originals came with. Let me tell you my experience with the 105 Airs. Will it play some music? Because I just love...
What is the rock and roll lifestyle?
If you don't have the Grand Theft Auto, this is Vice City soundtrack in your playlist, get the fuck out of my channel. Munich. This year? 2020? Munich 2024. I go to the Meze booth, and it's not a booth, it's a building, because I bring a building. And they're like, hey, would you like to hear the new Air? That's because they have Romanian accents, and they're sexy. It's like, oh, God, yes! Give me these. So they loan me a set of the Airs. And I'm, like, in the Meze area, listening on Meze things. And they have a ton of different listening options in the room. I'm not going to knock them on their options. But I, being Zeos and having the power of a reviewer that everyone kind of knows, I'm like, can I borrow these for a second? And like walk away with an unreleased pair of headphones. And they're like, yeah. Also, I'm going to talk about the Meze boom mic, because this is a 3.5 dual entry with a actual, like, flexible, good microphone. But it's also kind of a jank wire. But either way, it's under $100 and can convert any headphone Eris into a gaming headset properly. Anyway, back to Munich. Back to Munich months ago. So I listened to it where I was, and then I said, hey, there's an amplifier over there. I want to go listen to it. And I've never been tempted to blow $8,000 on an amplifier in my life. If you didn't watch my coverage of the Munich show, there's a very short clip somewhere, probably day 3. Where it was a distributor in Europe. So it wasn't like the Fostex booth itself. There was no Fostex booth. There was a distributor there who had an amplifier that looked remarkably similar to this Audiophile Solaris, this is a $4,000 German-made tube speaker amp. And Fostex had one there that was twice the price of that, with half the power, put more tubes and a big digital knob. And I took the 105 Airs, which had been going from solid state to different solid state, and I brought it over and I plugged it in to this $8,000 Fostex tube amp, which isn't new. Apparently it's old, and they don't make it anymore. And the guys were trying to sell it to me, and I'm like, I'd have to carry this like 80-pound tube amp back in like my luggage. And it was a built unit with glass, and just you could see the tubes inside, and it was the sexiest fucking thing ever. And then I plugged in the 105 Airs. I only plugged 2 headphones into that unit, and I fell in love with it. One was, I think I had original Aris, like a mock-up of the Aris into it, which of course I love. But then I plugged the 105 Airs into it. And it went from being like, oh, I'm going to listen to this 105. Okay, yeah, it sounds like a little bit of like a lesser model of this. And then I hit play. And, oh. Granted, you don't need $4,000 or $8,000 tube amps to make these owe you. But, oh. This is the power of the Air. It is no longer the Meze can do all with any amp and it's just fine, and tubes kind of don't really help it. Oh my fucking God. Do these absorb the essence? The source gear. Remember when I got into source gear in the comments and look at the I literally thought these were better than most of the other Mezes at the show when I heard the Airs on an expensive tube. That's their power. It's the superpower of the kid who's sitting over there like, oh, he's only a $400 headphone. Fuck that guy. He doesn't know shit. Look at him. He's not compared to the wood and the. But then he's very good. These are very good on a solid state. They're very good on portables. They're very good. They're a little bit closer and more direct sounding than the 109s. The 109s are very wide, relaxed, lush. That's what makes them the luxury headphone that they are. And the 105s felt a little more grown up. a little more, put together and in your not as forward focused. It's just sort of like, ooh. And then I fucking gave him a tube, and I mean a tubey tube. And holy shit, did they surpass the There are moments, if I have this set up here and this set up with anything, that I will take the AERs over the 109s. Because the AERs are like a dry sponge. They're sitting there, and it's perfectly good. You could wipe dirt off of something with it, but you throw some wet, thick moisture on them, and they just suck it up, and it's like that's all there is now. All there is now is tube. If I plug it, if I come out of this and I go into the hybrid Sparkos, it's not as insane as that, but it's the flavor. We're in flavor country. Pop it over to the little gremlin here. Oh. And then back to my neutral reference, which is the K19. Like, how do the sounds change so much? I don't hate this. It's they're completely come perfectly. They're come perfectly respectable. She understands the words I'm saying. But then you go and you start fucking with them. And you start putting it on tubes or really warm. I don't have a plug for that, do I? I guess I could just change to a different Meze cable. This is madness. I don't know. Why would anyone have more than one of these? It's such a wonderful thing. Let's do that. So, what is the 105 AER? It's probably of the entire Meze lineup, the whole lineup, it loves your source gear more than anything else. It changes more. I can feel it. And I can go back to this if I do that. And I could actually go back to that if I do this. So what I'm saying is, don't buy the XLR version of the Meze cable. Buy the 4.4 because adapters exist and I can go. Fuck. Okay, there we go. This review is completed. No effort November. Just plug it into a tube amp. But it doesn't have to be, again, that insane tube amp. You could be any of the X Duo. Oh, a lot of these X Duos are hybrids. You're going to get similar results to this. But, I can't think of a... We're talking HG600 levels of like, oh, that changes really a lot with a tube. HG600s and this might be kindred spirits, where they're very clean and nice. They're clean and neutral and nice. They do their job. They're not super expensive. This is a little bit more than the fucking HG600s, but they've been making that for 45,000 years. It's got the Meze. It's got everything you wanted of a Meze. It's got the look of a Meze minus the wood. You've got actually a little more opening. I just realized there's a lot more space and air around this driver. And even though it's a little bit, more closed in by default when you go solid state versus the 109s, don't feel bad if you're on 109s. Don't feel bad. I'm just saying, plug in my if I take the 109s and I diddly doodle this out of here, hold on. And I do this, the diddle doodle do, and then I do that. They still sound like 109s. 109s sound like 109s on everything. Most Meze things, Freudian slip, sound like Mezes on everything, and that's their power. But now these exist, and their power is in a head-to-head, same amp. I'd take the AERs because they have. That's the two schools of thought. This is what kills me as a reviewer. Do I want a headphone that does not change on your source gear, that is just fucking amazing? 109 is, again, the default. I want a nice headphone. Do I want that that works. It sounds great. It sounds the same on everything. It kind of negates the whole point of the other side of the hobby, which is collecting gear and different sources. And, you know, you're going to get the Valencia amplifier when that comes out. Like, is it that? Do we want that? Or are you an asshole like me and have all this fucking gear and portables and things that have slightly different tunings and different sound signatures? And this one's FPGA, and you want to hear that. That's where the AERs come in. The AERs let you experience this side of your hobby, and the 109s let you experience just this side of your hobby, where all your music on any piece of gear doesn't fucking matter. It's gonna sound fantastic. Whereas this, while it will sound very, very, very good, once you start pumping into flavor country, that's where the gold is. That's where the gold is. So yeah, so let's unplug. Actually, we're going to unplug this, and we're going to steal this wire back, which, by the way, there's the 1/4-inch version of Meze. And we're just going to hook this up for a second because I want to talk about it. And I'm going to hook it up to this because I think it's more designed for that. So the boom mic, the Meze Audio dual mono 3.5 for all headphones with dual mono, means yes, you could whip out just a set of AERs and go bloop bloop. The only issue is this plug is specifically designed like the Meze wire go on the... I don't know where the Meze wire is. Somewhere else. I'm just strapped to wires now. It's long for this particular sort of entry. So it goes past that, and then you have your wire there. So when you plug it into a normal-ish headphone, it's going to, well, stick down quite a bit. It still works on the AERs, I know, because I've checked it. But it's also going to stick down quite a bit on something... You know what? We're just going to shut that off so that we don't short anything out. If you're to use it on this, and this is labeled right, so the right side is here, and the left side is there. This is just... I wish they made two versions, one with it up here and one with it just down there. Because now you've got it, but it is quite extended below. And that doesn't affect how it works. If I put them on my head, and I do that weird camera thing where you see my nose, you can kind of see right where this goes. Can I turn this? Nope, it doesn't like that. Camera doesn't like that. But you can see how I'm wearing it. This is right below my mouth is here. This is right below my mouth. And it is a beaut. I've dealt with some shitty fucking microphones in the past. This is Meze, building a Meze level microphone. And you're supposed to not point that directly at your mouth. I believe you're supposed to point that away because here's the thing. My camera can hear my mouth even though it's above it by like 5 inches. And people behind me can hear my mouth because they have ears. So this microphone doesn't need to have you yell at it. You just have to have it near where the mouth hole is and it'll work fine. And I've done some tests. I plugged it into my phone and recorded with it. It's quite good. It is a quite... I can't do a demo because that would involve editing. But just I guess you'll have to just take my word on it that the Meze microphone that's like $80 doesn't sound like shit. The only things I have kind of... I wouldn't even say they're negative, just points to talk about is... So you get it on there, then you get your split, which I would normally expect to end like around here. And this ends about 6 inches below that into this mega box, which mega low box is an anime. Mega box is what I'm talking about here. You get your mic mute and unmute, and it's very hard to see because it's reduced behind this giant metal switch. There's a little green dot and a little red dot. So that's muted and that's active. And then you do get, like, it's such a big wheel, keeps on turning. But it is a volume control for the actual headphones so that if you're a gamer bro, and you don't want to, you plug this into your Xbox controller and you just want to like lower the volume, raise the volume, mute your mic, unmute your mic, that's all doable through this, which just feels like it's never going to break or wear out. Like that is a metal wheel with knurling. And this is a metal switch box with just the best clicks ever. And then you get the wire, which is... Make it 100, Meze. Make it give $20 more of manufacturing cost and make this just wire. It just feels a little bit consumer. And that's the thing. It's just the wire. This bit is fan-fucking-tastic. These bits are great. This end bit is like the nicest 3.5 I've ever fucking seen. It also comes with, by the way, this, which is the Meze breakout box, which you can buy. You've seen these if you've ever gamed ever, which gives you the headphone and the microphone. And that means you could use your bursting amplifier to pass the microphone through so you don't get a grounding issue. But yeah, you do get the breakouts. You either get the 4-pole or the breakout, which this is nice. And it all comes in like a legit Meze bag that feels like it's just, they're so close to perfection with this. They need to make like a Boom Mic Pro that is using like weaved wires and just insane materials and make it $120. And then be like, well, you could have this one, which is kind of like, it's fine. Or you go and you just blow my fucking you got to pretend, again, Gaben is gaming with this, and he's not going to buy the Meze 109s and then this microphone cable. He's going to want something expensive. Actually, he's probably going to use a desk mic because he's Gaben. But yeah, either way, 105 Airs are as recommendable as these, and at half the cost, that leaves you with $400 you can spend on a nice tube amp, which I will link a couple $400 tube amps in the description. That one's $1,000. That one's $4,000, but no longer made anymore. How about the Tor? God, I haven't turned on the Tor in so long. It's not hooked up. It's literally not hooked up to any source, but yes. Also, yes. Like, no surprise, no effort November. Wallpaper in the Wallpaper Horde. She's cute. She's got the ray of sunshine on her. That's these. These would be normally the normal girl, but then the sun of the tubes, the glow of the tubes have hit her. Best wallpaper. Patreon, subscribe, start support this channel. See reviews early, participate in yard sales, lossless sound demos, monthly Q&A, and for $10 a month, you get in the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat where you get to ask me questions directly and get into a lifetime swap meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear in case you just want to sell all your shit and get the hell out of this hobby, or join that as a nobody and just buy everyone's used stuff and get like a 40% discount on your life. That's also a way you can go about it. Remember the stock cable on the 105 Airs? Yeah, neither do I. Think about checking out the Magia, which is not cheap. It's $185 fucking dollars, but that's still relatively affordable for the amount of quality you get from a cable you can bunch up and has 8 cores of the most insane. Look, they said, do you want to make it with normal cable or like really nice shit? It was like $22 difference in the build. And I'm like, the really nice shit. So they could be $20 cheaper, but I chose to actually put good things inside of it. So there you go. Wallpaper thing. I'll see you all in the next one. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.